Bless. Hello. Hello. How are you? How you doing? How's life? Ralsei from Deltarune because that name sounds familiar. That's good. I'm also doing good. I'm eating lemon pudding. It's okay. You for People forget things. Hey Ghost Claw, welcome. I know we're probably not going to have a whole lot of people here since a lot of people probably have school tomorrow. But I don't have school tomorrow, so what the hell? Why did your amino get blocked out? Did you do something? Ah, Zoe. That's a very nice name. I got my dogs. There's Lucy. And then there's, hang on. There's Misty over there. Hey, Stephen Candies, welcome. And hey, Queen Nemmer. Well, that's not really a good prank. That's not really a smart prank. You saw Lucas the spider? Well, I'm glad because Lucas the spider is genuinely a cute cutie. There's a new episode of it called I'm Starving where he and his new friend the fly, whose name I still don't know, they're trying to find food. And when Lucas finds out that spiders eat flies, he thinks that's gross. So he just goes around showing his new friend what he likes to eat. You watched that movie? Well, that's great. Did you like it? Because I honestly loved it. The soundtrack was awesome. And I loved the story. Cuddles, huh? That sounds fun. It's such a catchy song. Yeah, I'm pretty sure mine are asleep. Or at least they're getting close to falling asleep. Give me a sec. you you can't just high five. Pew! Yeah, I I took some meds. I've been taking meds all day. I have like 3 different pills I have to take, and I have to take cough syrup, which doesn't taste really good. And I also have to take an inhaler. I have to like take 2 puffs. Like I gotta breathe out all the way, like, and then I gotta breathe in when I press it down, like. I don't have school tomorrow because there's a staff meeting, and well, I'm just hoping that I'll be well enough to go to school. on Wednesday. I don't know what I'm gonna work on. What do you guys want me to work on? Oh wait, I forgot. Earbuds don't work on my phone anymore. So, screw it. I'm gonna put on some Sugar Crisp commercials. Rosie, as in my flippy flaky fan child. Sure, I guess I could do a drawing of her. In the meantime, I'm gonna put on these old Sugar Crisp commercials. Cheers, our three friends, the honey bears. So, should I work on two sides or should I just draw something? This is it's so weird looking. Look at that.
Milk or cream, as a snack any time of day, or as candy right out of the box. Remember, as a cereal, it's dandy. For snacks, it's so handy.
Or eat it like candy.
Oh, Sugar Crisp. The red, white, and blue package with the three bears on it.
No, I don't have a sugar glider. I kind of want one though, but I need to show more responsibility with other things. Besides, we already have way too many animals, not including the people that live here. Oh, that's what I was looking for. Yes, savage. Actually, since you brought that up, I know what it means to be savage. Like, you just roast people and all that, but I think and it's funny. Okay, yes, roasting people is kind of it's funny. I mean, as long as you're not hurting someone's feelings, that is. But sometimes I feel like people take savagery too far and they end up hurting people's feelings. And at that point, it just doesn't. It's not even savagery. It's just being. So, like, people need to learn the difference between being savage and being just straight up mean. Yeah. Black and white commercials. This is the kind of stuff that was on when my grandma was little. Well, then it's not roasting. It's bullying. There's a difference between roasting someone and being savage, and there's roasting people and being savage and funny that everyone can laugh at, and then there's being mean and just straight up.
Sure knows how to start his day a little bit better.
Bet your goodies, Granny. It's sugar sweet, honey flavored wheat, so it keeps me going strong. Bye, Granny.
I don't know what that is. Sorry, Scooter Animations. I don't know what that is. Post cereals make breakfast a little bit better. I kind of want some cereal right now, or some oatmeal.
Sugar bear. Oh, you'll not get my Sugar Crisp this time. Oh, I'll change my house into a spaceship.
Well, you know, Granny Goodwin's spaceship.
I must be a million miles away from him.
Hi, Gran. Small universe.
What are you doing up here?
Just taste of 101 Sweet Bar. Maybe sugar.
That's not.
You never get my Sugar Crisp cereal.
Well, then that's not. Yeah, like name calling in that sense. That's just mean. That's not even roasting at this point. It's just being like. There comes a point when you take your savagery too far, and you end up. You're not even being savage at that point. You're just being straight up mean and a bully. No. Roasting is funny. It's something that even the roasted person can get a kick out of. Like people have roasted me and I've laughed at it. And I've also roasted people and they've laughed at it too. But like there comes a point when you're not roasting people anymore. You're bullying them and being mean. Like I think people just take things way too far. Either that or some people might get too offended over something. But I think both parties need to understand the difference between being savage and being a bully. There's a difference between roasting someone and being mean to someone. Hello, Ice the Wolf. I don't think I've seen you around here before, but if you have been around here and you've just changed your username, well then welcome back. My hair is long enough now so I can put it into a tiny ponytail so it kind of looks like this. But sometimes I just feel like it's about to fall out. Oh, whoops.
Never.
I have no clue what to draw.
You'll never find it here.
Sugar Crisp. I need a snack.
I know.
Because they have nothing better to do, or because their home life sucks, so they feel like they need to make other people's lives suck, or because they just feel like they need to bring people down to make themselves feel better.
You can get Sugar Crisp at Post Tree Snack too.
A lot of people fail to realize this, but a lot of the reasons why bullies are so mean is because their home lives generally suck, or they've been bullied. I mean, there are several reasons, but one of the reasons could be because their home lives really suck and they feel like in order to make themselves feel better about their miserable lives, they need to make other people feel miserable. They just feel like they need to make other people miserable in order to feel better about themselves, but that's not right. Two wrongs don't make a right. Neither does one or three. No matter how many wrongs you commit, it will never make a right. And I know people nowadays have this weird, warped vision of what's right and what's wrong. But honestly, at the end of the day, if you're beating someone up or making someone feel bad or calling them names or killing someone or killing an innocent person who has done nothing to deserve it or anything like that, then you're committing a wrong. And if you're trading and if you're sacrificing one or more lives to save other lives, then that's also a wrong. Nope, we're all a bunch of dramatic teenagers, so of course we need to talk about bullies. Make breakfast a little bit better. It's chill. I just feel like there are some things you shouldn't even say on a private chat, because there are some things that even I can't stand. I'm a very prudish person, so I can easily get shocked by certain sexual things. Well, that's good. I mean, as long as you're all right. Okay, fine. Let me rephrase that. We are all a bunch of dramatic kids who need to rant about things. I mean, I may be 18 and that's legally an adult, but I still rant about things as if I'm a kid. Oh, I can't get enough of that Sugar Crisp.
You can get Sugar Crisp at Post Tins too.
I kind of wish someone would invite me back to that chat, though. 9. I don't think 9-year-old. I don't think a 9. Don't take this the wrong way, but I don't think a 9-year-old should have a YouTube account. much less be on a regular YouTube. I think your YouTube should probably have a filter. I don't really think someone under the age of 13 should have a YouTube account.
It's a honey sweet vitamin drink.
You did, huh? I know. It's just, I mean, I talk as if I know what's best for people, when in reality, I don't even think I know what's best for myself. Hey, Bunny Balloon, welcome. I'm kind of stuck and I don't know what to draw. I've never had Sugar Crisp, or Golden Crisp as it's called now. I've never had Golden Crisp.
Can't get enough Sugar Crisp. Have some, honey bear.
Should I throw this, Dad?
It's okay. Don't feel bad. I got over it. It's just, that was a little too far. That image you sent of whoever sent that image of Disco Bear, like, that's a little too far. And there are some things that you shouldn't talk about or send even on a private chat. Because even though the leaders might not know what's going on, but even if the leaders don't know what's going on, someone's gonna find out about it, and then we could probably have some problems with Team Amino. I mean, those rules are there for a reason. Glad to hear you're doing all right. I'm gonna draw my Lifty Splendid kids. I'm gonna draw Lucky and Sheldon, or yeah, his name's Sheldon. Originally, I named him Sherman, like from Mr. Peabody and Sherman, but I changed his name to Sheldon because I like Sheldon better. Yeah, I definitely want to finish up working on the moms, and then I can make the dads too. You know, at one point I kind of thought that Disco Bear was a lion, because in the episode he first debuted in, Stayin' Alive, he kind of growled a bit like a lion, and plus he's got like a puffy thing going on, so I kind of have a headcanon that one of his parents is like a lion. You know, like, I don't know how long ago it was. I don't remember what year it was. It was probably like the 70s or 80s. But Sugar Crisp had like this like spin-off cereal called Super Orange Crisp. This was at the time that Sugar Crisp was rebranded as Super Sugar Crisp. They had this short-lived spin-off cereal called Super Orange Crisp. And it was short-lived because apparently it was causing a lot of cavities. It had much more sugar in it than the original Super Sugar Crisp did. Yeah, I've drawn Flippy's dad before. And I know his name is kind of silly sounding, but honestly, a lot of their names are kind of silly sounding when you think about it. You know what's really funny about like the Sugar Crisp mascot, like the Sugar Bear? You know what's really funny about him? Like every other cereal mascot you see, like Lucky or the Trix Rabbit or the Cookie Crisp Wolf, like they never get the cereal. Like the kids always tell the rabbit, silly rabbit, tricks are for kids, and he never gets any. But like Sugar Bear, he is an unstoppable force that gets his Sugar Crisp no matter what. Flippy's dad's name is Flapjack in my AU. His name is Flapjack. And I know that's another name for pancakes, but like whatever. They all have cheesy names. If anyone ever calls you ugly, then they're just saying that so you'll feel bad about themselves. They're just saying that so they can feel better about themselves. They feel like they're ugly and they feel like that if they call other people ugly, they'll feel better about themselves when in reality they're just making everyone feel bad like a jerk.
Pinball games, especially marked boxes Super Sugar.
Mr. Winter.
Earlier I was watching that was that's Chow's version of Flippy's dad. My version of Flippy's dad, his name is Flapjack and his mom's name is Flora. This was years ago, back when I first got into the Happy Tree Friend fandom. Yeah, like no matter how many times people try to get the Sugar Crisp from him or they try to keep it from him, he always gets his Super Sugar Crisp. He's like an unstoppable force, the Sugar Bear. Your snake? You have a snake? I had a I used to have a pet snake. His name was Cuddles. This was back when I was like really, really little. Commercials were weird back then. Hang on, I need to pull out a reference. Hello, Shantez Ford. Oh, I used to have a gecko. I called it Baby. There we go. Now I have the reference up front. Fun fact, one of my Lifty X Splendid fan children is actually an adopt from another user. Alright. Yeah, does your snake bite? A python, huh? Aren't those things like ginormous? Hey, you guys want to know something? You know what a matador is, right? It's someone who goes into like an arena to fight bulls. Like they have the red cape and they just go Toro, Toro, Toro. Well, fun fact, the color of the cape doesn't really matter because bulls are actually colorblind. But the reason why the bull charges is because the matador is stomping in its performance, and this excites the bull. And the way the cape moves around also excites the bull. So in reality, it doesn't really matter what color the cape is because as long as the matador is doing something to excite the bull, like doing something to excite the bull, the color does not matter. All right, have fun playing Splatoon. I wish I could find my Splatoon game. Splatoon's actually really fun, even if it doesn't have a story to it. That's the only thing I don't like about Splatoon. Like, there's no story to it. All it is just going into these arenas and spraying paint. I mean, I know some people might find that refreshing, but I guess it's just not what I'm used to. Bye bye. See you later, Alice. Alright, there we go. There's just something about Sheldon that makes him seem like both a raccoon and a flying squirrel. Meanwhile, Lucky looks more like a raccoon than anything.
chips and freeze thanks to
Part of me wonders if Sugar Crisp really does have all the vitamins in it that it says. Hey, Cole, welcome. You hit yourself in the face? Oh, man, I'm sorry. Okay, gotta keep looking back at this reference. Oh, whoopsies, wrong one. Do you ever feel jealous of someone, like maybe your sibling, because they're better at something that you want to be good at? There you go. This is looking good so far. I'll work on it a little more and then I'll show you what I have. But back to my question from earlier, do you guys ever get jealous of someone, like maybe a friend or maybe your sibling, because they can do something better than you? I can't get enough Super Sugar Crisp. Because I'm pretty sure we all get jealous of something or someone, like because someone can do something better than us, or like because someone else is really good at something that we've been doing, and hearing everyone say something else, like someone else compliments someone else that you know personally for doing something that you've been doing a lot longer. Like you've been taking piano lessons, but you're not really all that good at it. And then when your little sibling tries it, they're practically a prodigy at it. And when you hear everyone say good stuff about them, it makes you feel jealous. This is looking good so far. Oh, you don't? I'm sorry about that, man. But hey, just because you're not good at one thing, that doesn't mean that you won't be good at anything. And hey, maybe with some practice, you'll you'll become an even better artist. Whether or not someone's art is good or bad, like it doesn't take a professional to like judge someone's art. I mean, and if someone is telling you that your art needs improvement, they're not saying that it's bad. It's just they're just trying to help you and they're trying to say if you did this, it would look even better. They're not no one's like, unless it genuinely sounds like someone is being a jerk, they're not really being a jerk. They're just trying to give you advice or constructive criticism. I'll admit, sometimes when people give me constructive criticism, I really feel like I did something wrong. But in reality, I just have some areas that I need to improve on. Anyway, the reason why I brought up the whole topic of someone possibly being jealous of someone is because this picture that I'm working on right now, um, it's of Lifty and Splendid's kids, Sheldon and Lucky. And even though Lucky is older and he's had powers a bit longer than Sheldon, Sheldon is a little bit better at controlling some of his powers than Lucky is, and it makes him jealous. Another problem that two siblings have, two of the next generation kids of mine, their names are Cloud and Breeze. They are sisters, and they are Mime and Lammy's children. And not Breeze, no. Cloud, she already showed signs of having inherited powers when she was really little. And Breeze didn't show any signs of having powers until she became a teenager. And she didn't really feel jealous of Cloud or want powers. She felt like if she had the powers, then she would be considered a freak, considering that Cloud was kind of bullied for having magic, or like she was often avoided, or someone would like they wouldn't trust her at first because she also had some troubles controlling them. And when Breeze found out she had powers, she started to freak out and feel like she was a freak because she just didn't feel like powers were something that would fit on her. I've only ever drawn Sheldon one other time, and so feels a bit weird to draw him again. It's such. Ah. Oh, can't forget to put my signature down there. All right, there we go. Oh, really? Well, then, in that case, she's the bully, reporting a false crime. If you look really closely at Sheldon's teeth, you'll notice he has braces on him. Oh, it did, huh? Oh, geez, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't want to leave the comfort of my heated blanket. That is my least favorite thing to do. It's just, I hate having to get up and move around after, especially when I'm so comfortable. I used to have a fan that squirted water too. Don't know what happened to it though. I remember I had it around the time I was still getting rid of my warts. Because when I was much younger, I had a wart problem. I had a wart on one of my index fingers. I can't remember which one. And I had a wart on my knee right here and one in between my toes. So yeah, I basically had a wart problem. Okay, how should I color this? Should I use my thick black outlines or should I use my colorful outlines? Catchy, it's such a catchy song. When I'm making it along, this song's gonna get stuck inside you, or this song's gonna get stuck inside you. Ah, damn it! Why is that song so catchy? Black outlines. Black outlines it is. Hang on, I need to check something here. I know, I can't help it. It's such a freaking catchy song. And that's literally what it's called, too. Catchy song. Hey guys, can you check something for me? Check my channel. How many subscribers does it say that I have? Alright, I will. Thank you, Ice the Wolf. Alright, there we go. Now I fixed it. 1,101. Okay, so YouTube isn't just fucking with me on my end.
How does that feel, huh?
Thank you. Thank you for double checking for me, guys. That's the best. And because Sheldon has braces on, he has kind of a lisp.
Okay.
That's Christian Del Grosso vines.
Can you tell me where the bed is? Right here. Where? Wait, let me check the map. Don't need the map. What the? Oh, man. Guess what just happened to me? What would happen? Guess. Tell me what happened. Come on, guess what happened. I'm not guessing what happened. Guess what happened. Hello? Hold on. Is this a Febreze commercial?
Oh, whoops.
Yeah. I said yeah. I said yeah.
Okay, there we go. I knew something was missing on Sheldon's face.
My phone. Where's my phone? Why, hello, Mrs. Positive. Naughty Miss
Christian Del Grosso is a strange, strange man.
Is anybody home? Yo, be right back. Christian, we don't have time for 1 second. Just 1 second. I don't got free Wi-Fi yet, though. See you, bro. Wow, good. Oops, I licked it. Wow! Get this brother, let's go right now. Woo! Woo! Feel right. Get back. What you doing, man?
Alright, you're lost. You don't get to hear Christian Del Grosso anymore. I swear, a lot of Christian Del Grosso's vines perfectly describe how I feel certain times. It's like when someone drops a really long text message on, like they send you a really, really long text message, it just feels like someone just dropped a freaking novel in front of your head, in front of your face. And you were waiting so long for a reply, and when you finally get that reply, it's just like, oh gosh, I have this novel that I need to read, and I need to study it thoroughly so I don't miss anything in their message. Sure, you can tell me your real name. Just don't include your last name because, like, you should never give out certain information online. And I'm terrible at keeping information to myself. So, technically, I don't think I should even be online. I trust the internet way too much. They teach you in school that you should never trust Wikipedia as a source. But honestly, Wikipedia has never steered me wrong. Your real name is Bella, huh? That's my little sister's name. Irony, irony, irony. I also like some of the vines that he does where, like, he wears that wig, like, where he's imitating his mom. Like, there's this one vine he did of, his mom just comes into his room and says, Christian! And he's like, yeah. And she says, excuse me? Watch the tone in your voice. And I'm just like, yep, that's pretty accurate. It's amazing what parents consider attitude nowadays. And when you miss a call from your mom, it's practically like you just set yourself up for failure. Like you better start you've started digging your own grave at that point. And then when you call her back, she just bitches at you saying, "How dare you not answer my calls?" And before you're about to go out anywhere, like you go out to hang out with friends, she asks for their phone number, their parents' phone number, their aunt's phone number, their uncle's phone number. His vines with like where he plays the parent, like it's just so accurate. Like I'm pretty sure we all feel that way. I understand that our parents are trying to protect us from junk, but honestly, you gotta admit, sometimes the things they do to protect us sound ridiculous. I don't know. Why do I drop everything? I'm a freaking Butterfinger, so I know how you feel. You guys know that cartoon Arthur, the one on PBS Kids, about that kid with that aardvark kid with the glasses, and he has a little sister named DW. Well, I'm not really a lot of those characters. I'm not really big fans of a lot of those characters. I mean, this could just be me, but I'm not really a fan of the character Muffy. 'Cause, like, she seems so heartless and can be really shallow at times, and all she seems to care about is fashion and shopping, and she's really shallow and mean. And sometimes I'm not really fond of Francine either because she can also be really mean sometimes, especially towards Arthur. It's just a lot of those characters are kind of mean when you think about it. And you know that meme where like there's like a meme going around of like Arthur like punching DW. Now, I'm not saying that you should punch your sister, but like if she broke something that he genuinely cared about and if she told him not to touch it, I'm sorry that if this sounds rude, but she kind of had that coming to her. Like he told her not to touch it and she just went ahead and touched it anyway. I mean, just because you should share things with your siblings, that doesn't mean that you automatically have to share everything with them. There have to be like some limitations on what you can and what you should and shouldn't share with your siblings. Like it's like you have nothing to yourselves. Yes, sharing is nice and sharing is good, especially with your family. But there are just some things that you should have to yourself, especially if it's special to you. And if someone tells you not to touch something, that means that they don't want you to touch something. And she just goes out of her way to just, I'm sorry, but she kind of had that coming to her. Like, I'm sorry, like, it was wrong of him to hit his sister, but in all honesty, she had that coming to her. He told her not to touch it, but she went ahead and touched it anyway. Like, that's not even cool. And DW can be kind of mean and sometimes too, and kind of annoying, really. Just just like just making sure I'm using the right color on the right text. Sometimes it's hard to do traditional drawings of certain characters since there are certain colors on a digital version of the character that you don't have traditional versions of. Like I had to do so much improvising when I first started drawing. Not Lucky, Sheldon. Really? Well, I mean, you shouldn't just punch someone for no reason. I mean, self-defense, of course. I think the only reason why anyone should punch someone is if it's in boxing or wrestling or if it's self-defense. Those are the only reasons why you should punch someone. But I can see why Arthur punched DW because I don't want to sound mean, but she kind of deserved that. If he told her not to touch something of his and she just went ahead and touched it anyway, she kind of had that coming to her and she kind of deserved it too. Like, I know that makes me sound like a villain and even like a mean person, but if someone tells you not to touch something, it doesn't matter if siblings should share or it doesn't matter if you want to touch it badly. If someone tells you not to touch something, it means don't touch it. It doesn't mean later, it doesn't mean I'm thinking about it. It doesn't mean go touch it anyway. So if you ask me, she kind of deserved that and she kind of had that coming to her. So I'm sorry. It's just I'm not really a big fan of DW. I'm not saying she's a bad kid, but she's kind of a brat sometimes. And when she gets what's coming to her, like and when something happens to her, I sometimes I just generally think that she just got what was coming to her. Like she tried like in the one story where Arthur got chicken pox and DW was just laughing at him and making fun of him and saying that she was going to give his ticket to the circuit is to her friend, and then she just ended up getting chicken pox herself, and she also ended up pretending to have chicken pox just so people would pay attention to her. That's a pretty low thing to do. And I know that all children do that, like they pretend to be sick so people will pay attention to them, but it's still not a very right thing to do. So, in the end of that story, when DW got chicken pox herself and she had to miss the circus, I say that she kind of deserved that and she kind of had that coming to her. Like, she's not a bad kid. She's not a bad kid. She can actually be very nice. But at the same time, she's also kind of a brat. Anyway, welcome back, Bunny Balloon. I'm just talking about Arthur, which is a show I loved watching as a kid, and I still like watching it now, like whenever I can catch it. I remember there was also an episode of Arthur called The Great McGrady, where like the school lunch lady, Mrs. McGrady, she ended up getting cancer and a lot of people were affected, especially Francine. And I actually liked Francine in that episode because we got to see a better side of her where like she wasn't being mean, she wasn't being snobby. She was genuinely concerned for Mrs. McGrady because she wasn't just the lunchroom lady, she was also a friend of hers. That can happen where like you're friends with someone, you're friends with your teacher. I'm saying that you can be friends with your teacher. But yeah, I was just talking about how much I loved it too. I can't really decide which one of the characters is my favorite because honestly, it's kind of hard to choose a favorite. And not because there are so many good ones, but because so many of them have, I think a lot of them have problems with each other. They have problems. No, I mean, no character without it is without its flaws, that's for sure. But it's just a lot of them are kind of mean to each other. Like, I get it, they're kids and they don't know any better, but some of them are just genuinely really mean. And some of them are even, like, heartless. Like, like Muffy, Francine's best friend Muffy. I don't really think Francine should hang out with her because Muffy seems like the type of girl that would pick on someone else just to make her feel better about her own self. And DW, like I said, she's not a bad kid, but she can be kind of a brat sometimes. I'm sorry. I'm not a very entertaining person in some aspects. I try to make my stream interesting by talking about things while I draw, but I guess sometimes it just doesn't work. I also remember there was this one episode where Arthur's teacher, Mr. Ratburn, like his house gets damaged or something in like a snowstorm, and he ends up staying with Arthur's family. And everyone at Arthur's school just tease him and torment him about his teacher staying with him. Like they're so mean to him about it. Like they start calling him names and whispering things about him. Like seriously, that's so mean. On my end, it says that there's two people here, but we all know not to trust YouTube because it's drunk and needs to go home all the time. Yeah, but I honestly don't think that any of those characters are genuinely friends with one another. I mean, I think Arthur and what's his friend's name? The bunny. What's Arthur's friend's name? The bunny who likes making movies and eating food. What's his name again? It started with a B. What was his name? What was his name? Baxter? Are you sure? No, no, no. It wasn't that. It was a similar name. Buster. His name was Buster. That's it. Yeah. Arthur's best friend. His name was Buster. His name was Buster. That was the name of Arthur's best friend. Arthur and his friend Buster, those two are genuine friends with each other. Those two are genuinely friends with each other. I mean, I'm not saying they're perfect friends with each other because I remember one time Arthur told Buster that he was having nightmares about being seen in his underwear, and Buster just went around telling kids about that, and he just started getting made fun of. Where I'm just like, you shouldn't tell things like your friend tells you certain things for a reason. Like if you told your friend that you were having nightmares about being seen in your underwear or being seen naked, then like it should be common knowledge that they wouldn't want anyone else to know about that. It should just be known that like there are some things that your friend tells you that they tell you that for a reason because they trust you and you're their friend. So, I don't know. I just don't really feel like a lot of those characters are genuine. Like I feel like a lot of those characters are they just genuinely don't care about one another. Or maybe that's just how the real world works and I just don't know how anything works. Maybe it's normal for elementary schoolers to be jerks to each other. Or maybe it's just normal for people to be jerks in general. I was telling my mom about how a lot of people on the internet say that whenever an animal dies in a movie, it's much more sad to them than when a human dies. And my mom said the reason for this is because people are assholes and animals are, well, animals. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but there's like this scene where one of the leaf eating dinosaurs gets left behind and it gets killed by like the volcanic ash and like all the toxic fumes. And when my mom sees that, she starts crying. Oh, I'll show it to you. What do you think? Does it look good? I think I might need to get a new red Sharpie because this one could be running out of ink. Thank you. You know me. I like floofifying characters. Yeah, I definitely need a new one. I don't know if I have a replacement in my big Sharpie bag, but I'll have to check. You know me, I'm the floof queen. Okay, I gotta find pink. Bingo bongo, found it. I do? Can you guys hear me okay? What am I doing right now? Is it moving all right? Cuz it's moving fine on my end. It's moving fine on my end. Everything's fine. And it doesn't say that there's like an error going on. Does the stream look okay on everyone else's end? Because it looks fine on my end. Yeah, I was waving. So, okay. Flippy, you might wanna refresh the stream or possibly like restart it or something. Yeah, I don't have the best like in terms of like camera quality, I don't really have the best one because I'm just using the webcam I have on the top of my monitor here. All right, here we go. Earlier today, I was watching a movie with my little sister. It's a movie that I watched a lot of. Like, I watched this movie so many times as a kid. It's called Return to Oz. It came out in like 1980 something, and it's a Disney movie, and it's kind of like the unofficial sequel to The Wizard of Oz. I don't think so. I don't think I think I've heard of that show. Here, let me look it up and I'll see if it looks familiar. Hmm. It looks semi-familiar. Oh yeah, I know. Oh, I loved Wow Wow Wubsy. I loved that show so freaking much as a kid. I watched that. I would stay up late to watch that show. because you know how a lot of the shows that they used to air don't air as much anymore because, well, other stuff is popular nowadays. But yeah, I loved Wow Wow Wubsy. Oh, I never had toys of them, but I definitely did. I went on to like the Nick Jr. website and I would play games of them. I used to go on the Nick Jr. website to play games all the time. I used to watch all kinds of Nick Jr. shows. Little Bill, Little Bear, The Upside Down Show, Yo Gabba Gabba, Wow Wow Wubsy, Pacoyo. What were some other shows I watched? Um, Team Umizoomi. Yep, The Wonder Pets. I watched that show too. I almost forgot about that show. Um, what were some other shows I watched? I also watched other shows on. I watched shows on like PBS Kids, like Fetch with Ruff Ruffman, Franny's Feet, Maya and Miguel, The Electric Company. I watched that a little bit. Oh yeah, oh yeah, JoJo's Circus. That was also something I watched on Playhouse Disney. I would watch Lilo and Stitch the series. I would watch The Replacements. I would watch Good Luck Charlie, and yeah, I watched all kinds of. I haven't heard of Higglytown Heroes. Oh, I just remembered another show I used to watch, Lazy Town. I used to love watching Lazy Town. I would love to sing and dance to the songs. And now all it is a source for memes. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but like it's so weird. Oh yep, iCarly, that's a show I watched. I also watched Victorious, and I watched I watched the Rugrats a lot when I used to, like, in middle school when I lived with my mom's boyfriend back when my sister was really little. Okay, gotta find some of the right colors. I'll work on finding Lucky's colors first because I genuinely know his colors. At least I think I do. Give me a sec. All right. So I need green and light blue and turquoise and also pine green. All right. Keon. Nope, I don't remember watching that. Oh, I also watched Dora the Explorer, and I also watched Ni Hao Kai Lan. I actually have some episodes of Ni Hao Kai Lan on DVD. I got them at a garage sale. I'm just like, nope, this is my childhood. I'm gonna buy this. I don't care if I'm too old for this crap. I know this sounds kind of bratty, but I feel like I should decide what I'm old enough for and what I'm not old enough for at this point. Oh, there's the turquoise. I also watched Go Diego Go because that's an awesome sauce show. It had some really good music. Al rescate, amigos, to the rescue, my friends. Al rescate, amigos, to the rescue, my friends. Go Diego, go Diego, go Diego, go Diego. It had such awesome things about it. I feel like my childhood was the shit for like cartoons, like source material. It was like the shit awesome. Kai Lan. Oh yep, I watched a lot of Ni Hao Kai Lan because it taught me Chinese, and I learned to love Chinese things like Chinese food and the Chinese language, Mandarin Chinese. Okay. I'm just gonna use these colors for now, and then I'll pick up where I left off in the color hunting scheme. Other shows I watched were like I said last stream, I think it was one of my previous streams. I watched a lot of Strawberry Shortcake, and I also watched a lot of Disney movies as a kid, and I also watched, oh, what was that show about the kids who would like their imaginations would come to life in their backyard? The Backyardigans, that's it. Hey Kyle, hey Cole, welcome back. Yes, Diego is Dora's cousin. And Diego also had an older sister named Alicia, and generally his best friend, his companion was Baby Jaguar. I need to sharpen this pencil. Oh yeah, I watched Care Bears too. I watched a lot of Care Bears. I also watched like I said, I also watched The Backyardigans. The Backyardigans was such a fun show. I loved it. I also watched Teletubbies, which my mom thinks is creepy, but like, what the H ever. Teletubbies are not creepy. Yeah, okay. Teletubbies are not creepy. The Slender Man parodies, Slendy Tubbies that people made of them, that's scary. Teletubbies. Teletubbies. Oh yeah, I also watched Blue's Clues when I was a kid. Blue's Clues was also my shit. I used to like a few years ago I recorded episodes of it so I could like watch it because it only started airing at like 12 in the morning. Sometimes I would even stay up late just so I could catch it in action. But it started getting annoying to my family, so I stopped watching it. I also watched the spin-off show of it that used puppets called Blue's Room, where Blue could like talk and it was all like puppets and junk. You ever wonder what Tubby Custard is made of? The world may never know. Oh, yep, I love Barney. I loved Barney as well. I didn't like whenever I would hear people make fun of Barney or say terrible things about it, I would have a freaking fit. I would always tell them that they were being mean. You think you're broke, your little fan? Oh, jeez, I'm sorry, man. Oh. I also like how, like, in kids' cartoons, they would, like, censor something. Like, in Go Diego Go, whenever the animal he was rescuing was being threatened by a predator, like he would always censor it. Like, okay, so obviously they're afraid of the predators because, well, they're predators. But instead of like outright saying that it's a predator, he just said, "Oh no, these animals are afraid of pumas," or like these guys are afraid of that. Like they're not being they're not being factual or brutal at all. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure the animals are scared of them, but like it's not just that they're scared of them, it's just that those animals can also eat them. I also loved those the special episodes of Dora where like she had like a mission that involved going to more than just three places where it was like a movie. There was like this fairy tale adventure Dora thing where Boots got a sleeping curse put on him, and in order to wake him up, he had to be hugged by a true princess. So Dora went on a quest to become a true princess in order to wake up Boots. It was honestly one of my favorite Dora adventures. And I actually have a computer game of it now that I think about it. And it's really, really, really fun to play. I love playing computer games. Like I played so many computer games where like you could pop the disc into the computer and play a game. Like I have this Three Little Pigs game. I have this strawberry shortcake game. I have so I don't know that one. I might have to look that one up. But yeah, like I mean, I might be a little biased, but I have to say that my era of kids cartoons, it was the best era of kids cartoons. My era and the 90s era was the freaking best era for cartoons. Like ever. I mean, that's just me. And like I said, I might be a little biased, but obviously the early 2000s and the 90s were the freaking best years for cartoons. Back to like PBS Kids, like PBS Kids shows like Maya and Miguel. I wasn't really a big fan of Maya and Miguel because it was kind of cheesy and some parts of it were a little bit annoying at times. But I definitely really loved Fetch with Rough Ruffman, and I also liked Word Girl and Word World. Those were such awesome, awesome shows. Like Fetch with Rough Ruffman was such an awesome show. I would always watch it with my grandma, and I would always learn things from it. It was such a cool show, and I would always recite facts to people, like random fun facts about wolves and all different kinds of animals. Oh yeah, Charlie. Oh yeah, Charlie and Lola was also an awesome sauce bomb show. It was such a good show. I'm okay. I also like watching old shows now that were on when I was a kid, but I didn't necessarily watch them a lot. Like I've been watching a whole lot of Static Shock lately, like I said, and that show first came out when I was born, but I actually didn't watch it as a kid. Oh yeah, Pinky Dinky Doo is also a very cute show. And like I said, I can find shows nowadays that actually give me a good feel like the older ones did. Like the show Doc McStuffins on Disney Junior, that's a really, really good show that I could watch a lot of. I could watch a lot of Doc McStuffins. And there's also the show Sophia the First. I could watch a lot of that too. and Butterbean's Cafe. That's a Nick Jr. show. It's a new one too, and I can honestly watch that one quite a bit too. But yeah, Charlie and Lola was also a really, really, really good show. I've been showing my sister a lot of the shows that I watched as a kid, and she really likes them. Oh, yep. Hey Arnold, that's an awesome. Yep, go ahead, Queen, knock yourself out. I love to hear about shows. Maybe I know it. I think another show I watched was Swervu Snippas. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you subscribed. Oh yeah, Hey Arnold. You know, that show, Hey Arnold, is actually a lot darker when you go back and rewatch it. It's actually a bit of a much darker show when you think about it. My sister was actually just watching Hey Arnold the movie earlier when I woke up. It was basically the movie was about like these people were about to bulldoze all of the houses in the neighborhood and everyone else would have to move and like he Arnold and his friends were trying to find a way to save the neighborhood. So I was telling my mom earlier about how there's a lot there like it's strongly hinted that Helga's mom, you know Helga, the girl with the one eye, the blonde girl with the one eyebrow, and she's the one who's always mean to Arnold, but she actually has a crush on him. There a lot of people think that Helga's mom could potentially be an alcoholic because she's always portrayed as confused or like she never goes anywhere without like a smoothie in her hand. So so a lot of people actually think that Helga's mom could be an alcoholic. And Helga was also ignored by her family because of her sister because her sister was like a prodigy in everything, so Helga never got any attention. And she was also bullied for having a crush on Arnold because he was the only one who was ever nice to her. And I'm just I don't understand that. I'm just like, so you're bullying someone for having feelings. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Not like I never understood what what the hell is with that? Like you're bullying someone because they have feelings. But at least like I'm just glad that we finally got to know why Helga was always so mean. Well, it's like most bullies, their home lives most bullies' home lives really suck, and that's one it could be one of the reasons why they're bullies because they feel like in order to make themselves feel better, they need to make everyone else miserable. But that's not what you need to do. I'm not saying it's a justifiable reason because there's no justifiable reason for bullying people, but Helga does have like we do know why she is the way she is because she has a terrible home life and her parents don't even love her. Like seriously. I haven't seen the Jungle movie. I've seen the movie where like they save the neighborhood, but I haven't seen the Jungle movie. I also like one thing I love about Arnold, like the character himself. I love how he always looks on the bright side of things and he always states the obvious and it's just really good to see someone who has a level head. Yeah, mom. I better go see what my mom wants. But I don't want to stand up. Oh, there's another color that I need. Yeah, okay, I knew I was missing a color. Another show I watched, I didn't watch it a whole lot as a kid because I was kind of forbidden to watch anything on Cartoon Network. But like when I was just a bit older of a kid, my cousin and I would watch a Cartoon Network show called Codename Kids Next Door. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it or seen it. It's about these kids who run an organization of other kids like all around the world. Like they fight against adults who want to make things unfair and unhappy for them. And they go by code names like number 1 and number 2 and number 3 and so on. Oh yeah, that is one cute pairing. And yeah, that's another thing I liked. Kids Next Door was also actually a much darker show when you look at some parts of it. Like there was this one episode called Operation Future. I can't remember what the letters stood for, but the episode was basically number 4 got sent to this boarding school, but it was a boarding school of all girls. And basically the headmistress, Madam Margaret, was a it was a little girl in an old lady robot suit. She was trying to turn the whole world into girls because she claimed that girls were much nicer and less rowdy and rough and disgusting as boys. Well, okay, I know that this is an old cartoon and things were much different back then, but I don't really think that I don't really think it's appropriate to portray girls as giggling crybabies who only like the color pink, because that's just a really big stereotype. And it's also a really big stereotype that boys are dirty, worm, bug loving, gross people. I mean, of course, boys are gross, of course, but girls can be pretty gross too. No, no, he didn't. And I'm trying to find the color, but I can't find it. Okay, found the right color. And another thing was, okay, so obviously it's a kids show and they know that kids aren't going to ask the question about how they're obviously kids are not going to ask like how it's possible for it to be an all girl future and yet there are still kids everywhere, because okay, just imagine this from a realistic standpoint. If someone were to turn the entire population into girls, that would actually be that would actually be a that would actually be the start of the extinction of the human race, because as jerkish as both genders can be, not just boys, girls can be mean too. Girls can be girls can be straight up bitches. I'm just going to say this right now. No matter how many problems each gender has, girls and boys both have problems equally, but no matter how many problems we all have, no matter what gender we are, girls and boys are both very essential, because without girls, men cannot okay, I'm sorry to use this term, but without a girl, a man cannot bury his seeds and start a new life. And without a man, a woman cannot like and without a man, a woman cannot take in the seeds and grow a child. I'm sorry to put it that way, but that's just how it works, kids. That's how babies are made. So, as much as girls and boys are very different, and girls and boys have differences and similarities, we can get along if we try. But no matter how many problems both genders may have, we all need each other. Even if we don't all like each other, we do all need each other. You're con- you're confused on what I said about what? About burying seeds and starting a new life? Well, then you're probably too young for this live stream. Oh, and by the way, I finished the picture. If you can't read it, just tell me and I'll read it. Okay, I'll stop. But all I'm saying is, without boys and without girls, like if every person in the world was only one gender, that wouldn't work, because you can't have one gender without the other and still repopulate the earth. A man needs a woman a man needs a woman and a woman needs a man in order for there to be reproduction. That's all I'm saying. So, this Madame Margaret lady from that Kids Next Door episode, while she may have been a genius in some ways, she was also very childish and stupid, because you can't just have the entire world be girls, because that's practically starting a mass genocide of the human race. And you can argue and say that I shouldn't be saying this stuff, but if you're not allowed to hear this stuff, then you're just genuinely not ready for the internet. If you're not allowed to hear this stuff, then you're just not ready for the internet. I'm sorry. But anyway, what do you guys think of the picture? I'll just read it to you. Hey, I think I'm getting the hang of this, Lucky. Sorry, I'm trying to do the lisp here, because he has kind of like a lisp where sometimes he'll say one word and it'll sound like another. And yes, exactly. Thank you, Bunny Balloon. That's exactly right. And I know that it's like a kids show and kids aren't going to think about that, but honestly, when you think about it from an adult standpoint or from a much older standpoint, basically what she's doing is causing mass genocide of the human race. And Lucky's just pouting and saying, humph, show off. Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. Gosh. I complain about stuff, but really I have problems of my own too. I claim to be prudish, and yet I talk about this stuff. But I'll stop talking about it if it'll make you feel better. That makes it the, second time I've drawn Sheldon? And he's a little cutie. Yes, he is. Well, I guess I guess some people just don't want to hear this stuff, or they're not ready to hear this stuff. I often forget that I often forget that most of my viewers are like 12-year-olds practically. Which KND movie? Aren't there like two of them or something? Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about Operation Zero? Because if so, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't seen the whole series. I mean, I've been recording episodes of it because they still play some of the episodes on Boomerang. So I've been recording episodes and binge watching them. I've been recording episodes of it and binge watching it, but I haven't seen every episode. I think the first episode of Kids Next Door I ever saw was what was it? Um I don't remember exactly, but I think it was the one where number one got attacked by this living pair of underpants. I think that was the first episode I ever saw of it. Either that or it was the one where that German kid whose name I forget got turned into chocolate and he came after number 5. I those are the earliest episodes I can remember myself seeing. Well, I mean, stereotypes exist for a reason. I mean, I'm sure the whole stereotype about girls being giggling crybabies who only like the color pink, I'm sure that had to come from somewhere. I'm pretty sure that was the case for most girls at the time, and that's why that stereotype exists. But I know that people can get offended when when others talk about gender stereotypes. But you gotta remember, stereotypes exist for a reason. They exist because at one point that could have possibly been true. This is a very awkward silence. The only thing I can hear right now is my fish tank over there. You can probably see it, like the light over there. Oh, it is, huh? Well, I might have to check it out. Speaking of which, I'm gonna check out on this stream. I'm getting kind of tired and I just want to relax. I'll be on Amino though if anyone wants to talk. So, thanks for listening to me, and I'm glad you liked the drawing. And I'm really sorry that I talked about gender stereotypes, and I'm sorry if any of this offends you guys, but honestly, if you're not ready to hear this stuff, then I just genuinely think you're not ready for the internet, because this stuff is everywhere on the internet. And if you're not ready or comfortable with hearing this stuff, then maybe you should just stay off of certain parts of the internet. But again, I'm sorry for taking my talk too far. But when I get deep into a subject, I get in there so deep that I feel like I'm swimming the deep ocean. Actually, I've never been in the ocean, so I wouldn't know. Well, I'll see ya. Bye bye. I'll see you Friday.